Every martial artist in the world would want to be able to move their body unconsciously. Every punch, every kick, every elbow, anything that is thrown, each individual body part would think on its own. Now, every single martial artist would strive for this, work for this, hunt for this, but some just will never. Maybe even all of them will never get to that point, will never be that person. This technique is known as Ultra Instinct. Ultra Instinct would allow someone's instinct itself, every body part having its own brain, its own mind. Movement would be fluid, and everything around them would seem as if, well, everyone and everything would seem as if it's just a fallback. They are all just side characters to this person's story. Yes, that may sound egotistical, but at the same time, Ultra Instinct itself is a peaceful, very calm, and a technique that would allow the user to move on his own, move without even a single thought. Yoichi Isagi would have just that. Through his younger years, he would begin martial arts, learning and meditating and trying to learn this so-called thing, Ultra Instinct. But what he realized is those who are using martial arts as a way of hunting down Ultra Instinct, hunting down the way of movement, didn't truly love the art of martial arts. And that would be included in Isagi himself. But there's one thing he did truly love, and one thing that he was obsessed with: football, or in America, soccer. Isagi would be obsessed with football, would be a freak about football. He would believe that maybe this was his calling. Maybe that is how he would unlock his Ultra Instinct. Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back with a brand new Blue Lock What If. What if Isagi had Ultra Instinct? This is part 1, so if you enjoy, leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below. I have no more and not much to say, so let's get right into the story. Let's get it. Isagi would keep it simple. He would begin working with the football itself, chasing it, following it, but eventually, during one of his matches and younger years, being that of a 12 or 13-year-old, he would eventually feel something. The ball as if it was calling to him. But at the same time, he would begin to move. He would then maneuver around every single person without even a second thought. He had no direction. His head wasn't even on a swivel. It was as if his body was moving on its own. The love for soccer was taking over, and he was beginning to move. It's as if he's truly tapped in to an otherworldly power, but at the same time, he knew what this was. It was instinctual. It was Ultra Instinct. He would kick the ball through the net, and everybody would be shocked. How did he end up there? It's as if his body told him exactly where the ball was going to land, and he maneuvered around every single defender in a matter of seconds, as if every defender that stepped in front of him, he knew exactly where their feet were going to be, exactly where his feet needed to be. How did he do that? Isagi would watch as they won that one game, and he would realize that he truly could be, well, the only user of Ultra Instinct. He could truly use his instincts in football to his advantage. But at the same time, there's something in martial arts that reminded him. One thing that reminded him of all of this. That one who has Ultra Instinct, or one who can move their body without thinking, must stay calm, must stay patient, and must have a very, very even emotional state. Because once it fluctuates, the one with ultra instinct may fade. He continues to think about this, and even though he's at the top of his class, is better, maybe even stronger than everybody around him, he stays humble, modest, and he tells them all that everybody plays a role. Everybody has a role. So when he's older and his team is trailing by 1 score, the striker, Yoichi Isagi, would be heeding the words of his coach about the soccer team he plays on. He's dashing down the field, and every defender that comes in front of him, if their legs are too far apart, would get nutmegged. Too close together would get their ankles broken. Isagi would easily chop by, nutmeg, and just blitz by everybody that's in front of him in a matter of, well, just seconds going down the field. Isagi would have one thing in mind and one thing in mind only. How do we get the ball in the net? And he knew that his body alone would show him the pathway, would show him without him truly even thinking. He would dip and dodge, and eventually it would be him and the goalie. He would look to his right to see that there was one person, his teammate, a free goal. In his mind, he would think, well, maybe the pass is there. But just as he thinks about this, his feet would move on their own, faking the pass and tapping the ball right over the goalie's head. It's a goal. The score now is 1-1. Isagi would back up, and his teammate would be happy, but would be confused why Isagi didn't pass the ball. Isagi would apologize, saying that he'll make sure to get him the ball the next time that it seems fit. But he believed that this was the best choice. Again, he's sorry about that. Of course, his teammate wouldn't even complain. He would say that he understands. I mean, he trusts Isagi. I mean, it was his call. Of course, this would lead to the other team taking the ball back once again. But Isagi, through his entirety and entire wisdom of soccer, and on top of that, his instincts would kick in so much so that he would go head to head with their number 1 player, Kira. Kira would try to blitz past Isagi, even thinking, maybe I should pass, maybe I should take him one-on-one. But quickly, he could see that Isagi didn't have to wait and think. Isagi would just do. Popping the ball up right toward the head of Kira. Kira would try to react and hit it, headering it forward. But before he could even do that, well, Isagi was already in front of the ball. The header would then hit the back of Isagi, but he wouldn't say much about it. He would kick the ball away, immediately passing it to the same teammate that was complaining, or at least regarded the fact that he didn't pass in the first place. But that same person would end up passing back to Isagi, and immediately he would score once again. Kira would be shocked. How did he knew that there was enough space between my head and the ball that he could section me off? How did he know everything that was going to happen before it happened? Kira would stand there in complete awe. Who is this guy? How did he do that? The time would then sound, and the team, led by Yoichi Isagi, would be the winners. Everyone would celebrate, Isagi included, and he would go over to Kira, shaking his hand, saying that it was a pleasure playing against him, and that he apologizes that their road has to end like this. Kira would look at him and smile, saying that he was just the better player. Far, far better player. He's never met someone as, well, talented as Isagi. And Isagi would tell him that it's just his love for soccer, his want to get better. And all of this, just once you realize how much you truly love this game, once you truly realize how much you love football, well, instincts will carry you a long way. Kira would listen to this and nod. Interesting. And you seem so humble. Very humble. Isagi would nod and smile, saying that his former senseis in martial arts always told him to stay calm and ready. Wait, if you're listening to this, you probably like my what ifs. Well, at least hopefully. So, if you want to watch it on a different platform, what we know as Spotify, then make sure to check the link in the description below. And sorry for the brief intermission, let's get back into the what if. Kira would be in complete awe about what Isagi is actually saying. He's into martial arts? How much does he know? Does he enjoy it? Is that why he's so good at soccer or football? And of course, this is a little different of an answer. Isagi isn't good at football because of martial arts alone. He actually doesn't even really like martial arts that much. It's just the principles. The principles of martial arts have taught him a lot. Kira is really interested in hearing more, but Isagi says that he has to go celebrate with his teammates. He apologizes. Maybe one day they'll talk, a little bit more about what this whole instinctual side of football truly is. He runs off and celebrates with his teammates. They all have a good time, do a little bit of celebrating and so on and so forth, and eventually Isagi would arrive back at home. When he would arrive back at home, his parents would greet him and show him a letter from Blue Lock. He looks and he sees that it's actually an invitation, not really understanding what this whole Blue Lock thing really is, and he decides, well, why not? It seems like it'll be a cool little maybe striker camp. Maybe it'll make him even better. He's really interested in getting better, so why not? So he does just that. He would visit this so-called place, an auditorium of some sorts, and he would actually see Kira. He would speak with Kira for a little bit, but eventually they would all, or both of them, would head inside. When they would head inside, they would see this huge auditorium full of, football players. But it seems that they're all strikers. Interesting. Isagi would walk in with a smile, and Kira would continue just talking to him pretty casually, and eventually the person that is leading the forefront of all of this would show his face. Jinpachi Ego. He would show that this facility is called Blue Lock, and Jinpachi Ego begins to explain everything to them. That everyone will be put through a survival boot camp in order to develop their skills as the ultimate striker, and the goal is to find someone to lead Japan's national football team, and the winner would be the starting striker of that team. Everybody's insanely shocked by this, but kind of excited. Well, that's until they realize that everyone else who fails will be banned from playing on the national team ever. And everyone is shocked to hear this. What are they even talking about? But Ego would shut them all up, continuing to talk and saying that all of the best strikers out there, have some sort of one thing in common. They have an ego. They are egoists, and they're confused by this. Isagi continues to listen. Ego, huh? Kind of like his name. Egotistical. He continues to listen more as Ego would explain exactly what he means, saying that real strikers want to score, want to put themselves in a position to score. They don't worry about the team as much. They want to show everybody that they are the best. Kira would step up and say that this is not soccer, or this is not the sport that he loves. This isn't. This is something else. This is fake. And of course, Jinpachi Ego would say that if he doesn't believe this is the rightful soccer, he could just lock off. He's not a true striker anyways, it's obvious. A true striker has an ego. And Isagi would look at him. An ego, huh? Isagi himself believes he doesn't have an ego, or at least he doesn't believe he's egotistical at all. He continues to listen to this man talk, and Ego would continue to say that if they really want to be the best strikers in the world, the best striker in the world will then walk through this door. Isagi takes a step back for a second and thinks he wants to be the best striker in the world, but he doesn't want to be, egotistical. I mean, that goes against everything that he's set himself up with. That goes against everything in his own mind. Of course, Isagi would stand there for a second, but he would see many, many people begin to run. He would look toward Kira, and he would nod his head. He would begin to walk, and Kira would be confused. Isagi, what are you doing? Why are you going over there? Isagi would look at him, and he would say that, well, he doesn't know about this whole ego thing, but he does want to be the best striker in the world. He goes through those open doors, and eventually, after getting all ready and set up, getting on the clothing that is designated to them, he would arrive in a room. In a room full of other people as well, 12 in total. He would look around, and he would see that everybody has numbers on their arms. He looks at his own, and sees that his number is somewhere in the middle of all of theirs. I guess there's some really good people here. He looks around and he begins to kind of scan the area. Guy with orange hair looks like he's a pretty good striker. Maybe the one sleeping. I mean, normally ones that are very calm, cool, and collected, well, they're pretty good. He continues to look around and eventually would see Kira. Oh, you're in here too. Well, it's nice to see you. Isagi would continue just looking around and talking to others, and everybody would realize how nice Isagi is. I mean, this is insane. They've never met someone this genuinely nice. It's actually kind of wild. Isagi would just continue getting to know everybody, introducing himself to every single person there, but eventually it would lead to a giant screen showing up in front of all of them, and the explanation would ensue that there's going to be a game of tag. Yes, a tag. And the way it works is that there will be a soccer ball or a football, and they will kick it at each other. Whoever gets hit is it. They will have precisely 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Well, good luck. The ball would drop out of the sky, and everybody would stand there in shock. Interesting. Isagi would walk up toward the ball and begin kicking it around. You know, the idea of tag with a soccer ball is pretty interesting. I mean, I've never done it myself. I mean, I wouldn't want to kick something at someone else. But I mean, if that's the challenge, I think we should all try our best. Isagi would then kick the ball, and it would go hurling at the boy with the orange hair. It would land right on his chest, and he would have to gather it. He gathers it and realizes that the ball slowed down, like considerably. It looked like it was on fire practically the way Isagi kicked it, but it seems like it slowed down and softly made connection. What kind of touch does this guy have with the ball? Nonetheless, Kunigami doesn't think much about it and rifles the ball to someone else. It's actually, well, the monk boy. He gets hit right in the face and it goes barreling off. Of course, Isagi would kind of flinch at this. Ugh, that looked like it hurt, man. That looked like it hurt real bad. After the ball would begin to roll, Iragashi would begin to run over to it. But just as he does, the boy that was sleeping on the ground seems to be waking up. He taps the ball and begins to kick it up as well. This looks like fun. He kicks the ball toward Isagi, and Isagi would easily dodge it, but then immediately would grab the ball once again and kick it back toward him, playing a bit of a back and forth with the one by the name of Meguru Bachira. Bachira would tell Isagi that he's fun to play with. They should play some more, as they continue to kick back and forth, but Isagi would say that someone is eventually going to have to get out. He knows that, right? Bachira says that he knows. He kicks it back to the monk boy, as the monk boy would instinctually just gather it. He's kind of confused. Wait, why did I do that? What am I doing? He kicks the ball away and tries to actually hit someone else, but Bachira would intercept it, and he would smirk. Now this is fun. He kicks the ball so hard it goes barreling back toward the monk boy, but the monk boy would duck, as Kira is right there, getting pegged right in the face, super hard. Isagi kind of flinches at this as well and goes, ooh, that looked like it hurt. Kira, you might want to hurry up because, oh, well, that's unfortunate. Isagi would look up to see that the clock says 0, 0, and 0. The thing is over. Tag is over. The game is over. Kira begins to freak out. No, that means, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't my fault. Why did he begins to completely and utterly freak out. No way, this can't be happening. He begins to scream, saying that all of this is BS. He's not the worst out of all of them. There's no way that there's 11 other people better than him. Isagi is taken back by this. Wow, maybe you should be in here. I can see that you definitely have an ego. Isagi would say this, and Kira would stare at him with a death glare. And, well, let's just say Kira is not too happy about this. He hears Ego speaking, but all he can see is Izaki's face. He charges toward Izaki, and, well, as he throws a kick at his face, he just dodges it, moving out of the way. Bachira watches as Izaki moves so fluidly. It's so beautiful, majestic, as if it's some sort of ballerina. It's actually kind of awesome. Bachira even says and asks how he moves in such a way. And Izaki says that in, well, layman's terms, he can move all his body parts, well, without even thinking. Bachira is insanely shocked by this, but everyone else who's there is as well. Ego would eventually interrupt and tell Kira that it's time for him to lock off, that his ideals were obviously going to drag him down, and it's pretty apparent that he just wasn't up for this, not even close. Izaki would be disappointed. He really would be. Frankly, he was hoping Kira didn't have an ego. Maybe he could learn Ultra Instinct. Maybe he could be instinctual like him. But he guesses not. It's sad. And everybody begins to kind of think about this idea of having this massive ego, because frankly, most of them don't really have it. And they look at Isagi. That guy, he definitely doesn't have one. I mean, look how nice he is all the time. Look how disappointed he is in Kira for the way he's acting. I mean, that guy has the furthest thing from an ego. There's no way. And it's obvious that he has an understanding of the game far greater than most people would even realize. So they don't understand. Does really not having an ego make you not the best striker in the world? Or would restrict you from not being the best striker in the world? Well, they're not so sure. They don't even want to ask any questions. I mean, this ego guy is kind of intimidating. Eventually, Kira would leave though, and they would be left with only 11 people. Ego would begin to explain what's going to happen next. This is exactly what's going to happen. They're making a team full of strikers. This team that they're currently with right now is Team Z. There are many other teams, at least this is according to Ego, and he explains that they'll work together, they'll live with each other, they'll work against each other, and other times they'll even betray each other. But this is the game, and the game they'll be playing. So he wants to see what one of them, or who, is going to be the best striker in Japan. The screen would turn off, and they would all realize that it seems as if they will be taking on other teams on top of that very soon. All Isagi can think about is getting back to training, getting back to work. He feels that he can only get better, and if this place is made for him to be the best striker, he'll see that very soon. He begins to work and train just early on and early off, and Ego is just ringing in Isagi's head. Why do they need to have egos? Why do they need to be egoists? He doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. But that's something that's been drilled into his own head, something that would make him not understand. But at the same time, he knows what's in front of them and what's going to be ahead. He learns that they're going to be taking on another team. This team being that of Team X. They have no idea who they are, no idea who they'll consist of, and no idea what's to really even come. Isagi does talk to everybody else, but there's not much that gets on. Nothing really happens. He tries to speak with them about what the plan is, what they should be getting ready for, and what they should do. But many of them don't really say much, and if they say anything, They ask why he would even be the leader and why they should even be listening to him. But with that said, they would stumble on to their very first game. And let's just say, the very first game is going to have massive growing pains. Isagi would step onto the field, and their quote-unquote plan, which is not much of one, would be that they would all just go out there and be strikers, in which Isagi believes that this is a horrible idea. I mean, this is just not going to work at all, and he would be correct. He would believe that this whole idea of them just being strikers and stealing the ball away from each other is just going to go wrong really fast. He watches his entire team stumble, steal from each other. The other team does the same thing. They're all fighting until a freak of nature comes out of nowhere, stealing the ball. Baro would come charging forward, and Isagi would be ready, waiting. Isagi would stand there waiting for Baro, as he knows exactly what Baro is going to do. He reads Baro like a book, his body reacting on his own, and he immediately would steal it from him. Baro would be shocked. How the hell? What? How did he do that? Isagi would begin sprinting off with the ball, and he would immediately go through this pile of bodies. Everybody trying to steal from each other, everybody trying to more or less take the ball away. But then, at the end of that huge pile, the ball would roll out, and there would be one person leaping over the top. Isagi. He would go charging forward with a smile on his face as Bachira watches him, thinking that maybe, just maybe, he does have the monster within him. But the way he's acting, it's so much different than anybody he's ever seen, and he definitely is the furthest thing from someone who has an ego. He would get by everyone, defenders alike, especially because the defense that was set up was horrendous. I mean, nothing even good was going on there. He would kick the ball and he would score the goal. I mean, it wouldn't be complicated for him. He would get through the defense with real ease, especially because there's no defense really in sight, and his team, Team Z, would be up 1-0. But he knows that Baro is going to become an issue. He tells his team to stop being whatever they're doing. He doesn't want to get frustrated with them, but at the same time, he feels that's the only way they're even going to listen. He does chirp up his voice a little bit, not being mean or anything, still being the nice self he always is, but he tells all of them they need to take this seriously. That he then says that he's going to make sure the big guy doesn't get any goals, but everyone else be ready for outlet passes. Be ready and waiting immediately, but don't be stupid. Keep in mind that not everybody can outlet, not everybody can go for a goal. Everyone begins arguing once again, and Isagi doesn't even know what to say. What is even happening? Why are they doing this? Well, this is supposed to be a team. Wait. Isagi would then think, a team. Maybe this is what he meant. Sometimes you need to realize that you're more than your team. He shakes his head and he can't even fathom that idea. I mean, all his life he's helped others. All his life he's kept his emotions in check, allowing his body to move on its own. But at the same time, he remembers the goal he scored not too long ago. He faked that pass. He didn't pass it to his teammates. He scored it. He thinks that of course he can score on his own, but this won't be that simple, especially not right now. That thought would leave his mind as Baro is charging forward like a bull. The king would tell them to all move or they're going to lose their heads. Baro would come charging in toward Isagi, and he would believe that all he needs to do is get by him, and the rest is simple and easy. But as he tries, it's as if Isagi is moving out of the way, but at the same time moving in front of him. It's so confusing. It's as if his eyes are deceiving him, but just as he thinks that he's clear, the ball would get tapped one way, he'd lose control, And who would have the ball? Isagi once again. Isagi would look up and he would look for someone on the outlet. And all he would see is, well, an orange-haired boy. Or, well, basically man. Orange-haired, sprinting down the sideline, not too fast, but with power in his legs. One chip, and the ball lands softly in front of Kunigami. And one kick, it's a goal. Everyone is completely in shock, and Kunigami smirks. That's a hell of an outlet pass. Isagi would then look toward everybody on his team, saying that they are now going to be playing his style of soccer. Follow his lead. Everyone looks at him, and this is the first time he's taken command. He's taken the initiative. This isn't ego. This is his want to win. This is his competitive spirit. But at the same time, the ideas of keeping his team together, keeping that unity, he sees everyone on this field, at least on his side of the field, as someone in a dojo, someone that would be his colleague, someone that would be training next to him. At this moment, that's how he feels. So every time Bado comes charging in like a reckless bull, Isagi can easily counter him. Yes, he may be weaker, he may be smaller, he may be way skinnier than Bado, but at the same time, Bado's not using his teammates at all. Every time Isagi would rip him, he would look forward and he would look for another outlet. If the outlet wasn't there, they'd reset, and Isagi would let the offense flow through him. He would read the field to the best of his ability, and he would begin just going in and out of the defense very easily. Bachira would cut across the field, and Isagi would tap the ball toward him. Perfect pass, landing right in front of him for the easiest goal of Bachira's life. Bachira would stand there and nod his head. He would believe that Isagi, maybe in his own way, he is a monster. Isagi would get set once again, ready to go, and Team Z is up 3-0. Rotations begin to flood in. They begin to use and utilize other people's skills. I mean, Bachira is extremely good, especially with his dribbling. But people like Gagamaru, he is super athletic. He'll be able to dive forward like nothing. So when we're talking about an outlet pass from Isagi that is perfectly used, and on top of that, perfectly tapped right into the airspace of Gagamaru, it's a free goal. The other team doesn't know what to do. They hope that maybe Bado can break through the offense or break through the defense with his own offense. Maybe they can set him up. But Bado is freaking out. He doesn't want help. He wants to do it on his own. He is the king of this field. Even the celebration of every goal that Team Z gets, it frustrates Bado even more. More and more. Eventually to the point he begins to think, maybe he'll use everyone else as decoys. Maybe he'll find his own goal like that. He begins to try and do this, but it seems like everywhere he goes, that same person is there. Isagi is there over and over again. How is this possible? What is happening? Eventually, Bado gets frustrated. So frustrated to the point that he kicks the ball straight at Isagi. Isagi would kind of be taken back by this, but would just dodge it. As he does, though, Bado is sprinting at Isagi. He realizes, well, Bado had an idea, a way for him to get a goal. Isagi watches as Bado charges forward toward the ball and would shoot, and he would score. Isagi, well, and his reactions and instincts, well, would be used against him, at least in this moment. Isagi would smile, thinking that Bado definitely thought more ahead than he can possibly imagine, especially for someone that just was freaking out moments ago. But the following goals would still remain. Isagi would be able to easily set up his team as long as they're listening, getting another goal to Kunigami, and then eventually stopping Bado once again. Bado would feel that he needs to get better, stronger, faster, whatever, he doesn't care. He eventually leading him to running over Isagi, giving him a free kick. Isagi would kind of shake it off. He believed that he kind of needed to take the hit, and it felt as if his body was telling him to do so as well, because he knew that he would have every threat possible. Everybody would stand there thinking, is he going to shoot? No, he'll definitely pass. His passing ability is insane. No, wait, but his shooting, he can shoot too. He's pinpoint accurate. We've seen him before. They're all thinking, overthinking, and all they can do is wait. And that hesitation between the idea if he's going to pass or shoot allows him to pin the ball right in the top right of the net. It's a goal for Isagi. And they end up winning the match 6-1. Everybody celebrates, including Isagi being happy with his entire team. And everybody there has a realization. Maybe this guy has something within him. Maybe Isagi has something to this whole teamwork thing. He was able to allow everyone to flow so amazing. Allow everyone to flow so perfectly. It was interesting. It was as if he was the facilitator and he was allowing everybody to do their own thing, but at the same time controlling them. But that's not exactly what he was doing. He was just going off of his instincts that he knew. He knew what the main issue and the main person at hand, how he needed to disrupt him and how he was going to disrupt him. And he did just that. That's one person down. Isagi was able to defeat the King Baro, and everybody is impressed, thinking that maybe even with a team of full strikers, they can become one. They can truly become a team that is coordinated and properly moves around the field. But it all starts with their willingness to work together and their willingness to avoid having an ego. It's weird, very odd. It's as if Isagi is a 1 in a million type of player. They all stare at him, wondering if Jinpachi ego is really wrong. Wrong about all of this. Wrong about the number one striker needing an ego. Jinpachi ego is watching, currently scratching his head. I can't get I don't know what it is about this kid. I can't get a read on him. What is he exactly? It seems that he's so calm, collected, but at the same time, how could he do something like this without having an ego? Jinpachi sits on it and thinks. What is he doing that's so much better than the people on the field with him, making them believe that they can do this without having a true striker's ego? He would stare at Isagi. Stare at him. What are you exactly, Yoichi Isagi? You're more than just some football player, some striker. You're here for a reason, but even I didn't expect this. How are you doing this without an ego? How are you doing this? Something rushes to Ego's head. Wait. He looks over to his assistant and looks back. I know exactly what this kid is. I don't know how I didn't see it before. He's not, no way. He's completely baffled at this idea that's flowing through his own head. Yoichi Isagi doesn't have an ego, but he has something even greater. Yoichi Isagi, whatever he is, we all know one thing for sure. He's a football player and a damn good striker. But that is the end of part 1 of What If Isagi Had Ultra Instinct. If you enjoyed, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Emerus for the thumbnail. He also does Blue Lock What Ifs and also Blue Lock Rants. I don't know how to pronounce his new channel's name. He changes his name all the time. And if he's watching this now toward the end of the video, I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. It's like Nox Stratu or something. Okay, it's in the description. Check the description, guys. Go check him out. He's sick. He's makes fire what ifs as well. All right, with that said, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.